Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Game Skates. Today, and only today, I'm here with the one and only. Tell him, let him know.
Brian Shea from Gameinformer.
Brian Shea, of course. I was always pronouncing it Brian Shea, like Shea.
Yeah, a lot of people have done
Shea.
Shea. I think that like having Shea Stadium in New York for a while helped with that, and then like the emergence of shea butter in like beauty products has really helped.
It's
like that's definitely made it a lot better.
I'm sure of it. How are you? How's life? How's everything?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited. You know, I'm chilling. I do my live streams, hang out, yell about a hedgehog, and that's my life. That's my literal
Not a bad
job.
life.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's great. How is it at Gameinformer? What's going on? How's everything there?
You know, we had a rough week last week with we got hit with some unexpected layoffs, which unfortunately did cause a delay of our Sonic coverage rollout. We were planning on doing that late last week, and as a result, we kind of pushed everything back a few days. But you know, now we're back up and running. We're the outpouring of support from the games industry and from the Gameinformer community was just phenomenal. And it really helped us out a lot, and it made us it lit a fire under our asses to kind of like
to push more.
You know, we want to make sure that we're earning that support that people were pouring out. We want to make sure that we're worthy of like all the kind words everyone was saying. So now we're kind of back at it. We're grinding. We're trying to get things rolling out again, and that's why we're pretty much getting a ton of Sonic stuff this week. We're trying to just throw it all out there. You know, we had a written thing on Monday. We had a rapid fire interview.
Yeah, the rapid fire is great.
And then you're getting another one today, and then there'll be another one at either tomorrow or Friday.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I gotta say, like, it's like for me, like, because oftentimes, like, a lot of like the journalist side and stuff, like a lot of criticisms and all that stuff. But I always loved Gameinformer because it was just like, here's a thing, and we're gonna extensively cover this thing, and we're gonna like make it cool and make it interesting, as opposed to like the more general stuff, which is like, let's just talk about this random news piece, this random news piece. I always like the covers, the focus on like a game and everything. It allowed everything to sort of like flow. I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so we still do like the news pieces here and there, but like you're right, like we realized that like we could, like, I think this was like 2007 was when we started doing like these like in-depth cover stories. I think oh god, Epic Mickey was the first one, I believe.
Oh my god,
like way back in the day. And we were like, hey, we're getting like all this access, like why don't we just drill super hard into a game? Like so that's what started our like kind of like what we now know as like the Gameinformer cover story.
Yeah.
And we've just been carrying on that tradition ever since, where we get this access to a developer. We kind of talk about like, all right, can we come to your studio? Can we like get a tour of your studio? Can we talk to all these developers while we're there? And it's always been a really great experience to be able to travel out there. You know, I went out to Game Freak in 2019 to write our Pokemon Sword and Shield cover story.
Yeah.
That was an incredible trip. Like that's one of my favorite trips I've ever done. But and unfortunately, you know, starting in 2020, we weren't able to really travel so much. But I was able to go out to Sonic Team for this most recent cover story. So I did fly out to Burbank, California, and got to spend a better part of a day in their office going hands-on with Sonic Frontiers.
That's awesome. That's cool. Was there is there the Statue of Shadow in there, or is that a different studio?
Nope, it's this Statue of Shadow holding the gun, and I have a pose of myself.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, basically like being like held hostage by him.
Yeah, it's the best. Whenever I see anyone go there, they always take that picture with the Shadow statue. It's hilarious.
So I was actually there, and they were shooting the Sonic Central that aired in early June. So I was there, and Izuka was actually recording a take, and I accidentally walked right through his shot, and he had to do the take over again.
That's so funny. I didn't know. It's great, man. So
I felt really bad.
I was gonna ask, like, what's your, like, before we get into like, you know, the nitty gritty and all that stuff, like, what's your history with Sonic? Like, how in the weeds are you? How much?
Oh man,
what's it like? You know, I feel like that's important because like there's different levels. So like questions and stuff change depending, you know, on everything.
Absolutely, it makes sense. So my first console I ever had was a Super NES. I got it for Christmas, I think 1993, and I, you know, just got obsessed with video games. I was already playing video games at like aunts and uncles and neighbors' houses and everything.
Right.
But I was like 6 years old. Christmas tree, opened up Super Nintendo, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I have my own system now. So I was playing Mario World, I was playing Donkey Kong Country, all these games. And then my dad got a new job in Florida. And it's like, all right, so we're gonna like relocate temporarily to Florida. So we sold our house, and it sold like immediately. So we didn't have a house in Florida for like 4 more months. So we're like, all right, well, I guess we're gonna move in with my grandparents.
I guess so.
Like in another part. I grew up in Maryland, so it was like we moved like 45 minutes away in with my grandparents for a few months while the rental house that we had down in Florida was. And I was like, all right, where's my Super Nintendo? And it was packed way back in the corner.
Oh,
so
God.
My parents took me away from my friends. They took me away from my video games. So they were like, look, we're going to be here for a while. So let's go to a store and get you a Sega Genesis. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we went there, and I got, it was a Sega Genesis bundle. I think it was at BJ's Wholesale. And it was a bundle that came with an extra controller, Echo the Dolphin, and Sonic 2.
Right.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I've heard cool things about this. Like, I've seen like the cartoon and everything. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm in. And we, I started playing Sonic 2, and like Echo the Dolphin was fine. Like, it was frustrating. I never really got past like the first area because I was just a little kid, and that game is hard as hell.
It's not good. It's not good. It's a funny game though. It is. I'm glad it exists.
It's fun to just swim around. And then I was like, oh, I'm actually supposed to do stuff in this game. And then I immediately stopped playing. But, and by the way, the greatest jump scare in video game history is when you like just are swimming around in the peaceful oceans and you jump up and then suddenly a vortex sucks all life up into the sky. God,
it's insane.
I'm pretty sure I threw my controller as a kid. But anyway, Sonic 2 just immediately hooked me. I was like, again, I was familiar with the characters from like the cartoon and everything, but I was like, all right, I've got to play more of this character. So Sonic 3 was relatively new at that point. I went out and bought Sonic 3, and I heard about Sonic and Knuckles. Yeah, and like I got that, and I was like, oh, there's like this lock-on technology.
Oh my God.
What's this? So I was like, oh, you can put them together. And I remember like, just playing it endlessly. I probably beat it like 20 times, like all the way through Sonic 3 and Knuckles as a kid. That's my favorite Sonic game to date.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
It's still to this day. Like, I know a lot of people say Sonic 2. I think even back in the day, most members of Sonic Team and all the conversations I've had with them, they usually will say Sonic 2. But
because Sonic 3 is like it's like, especially with and Knuckles in it, like Sonic 3.
Oh, absolutely.
So many zones, music, gameplay. Just so
the
dope.
Music. Rest in peace, Ice Cap Zone music.
That's what it sounds like now. It's very funny.
Oh my God, it's so bad. But I love the Ice Cap Zone music and Launch Base Zone music. Those are the real ones that we lost over the last month. But it's they hold a very special place in my heart, and I got so like, not bored, because it's still one of my favorite games of all time, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But I was like, I want some new twists on this. So I went in and I got a Game Genie, and I was like, let's see what we can do to like break this game. So like, I've never really been like into like the modding scene or anything like that. Like, I'm primarily a console gamer, so I don't like, I have an amazing PC rig that I barely ever use, because now because like I have ever since 2020 I've been working from home. This has been my work area. So it's like, as soon as I wrap up work, I'm like, I don't want to sit here. I want to go over there, sit on the couch and play my PS5 or my Xbox Series X. So, I got a Game Genie, and I started just experimenting with like, how quickly could I get supersonic or hypersonic, and like there was like, I for a long time I remembered like the inputs, because I had to input them every time I turned the game on. So it was like, there was a code that was like, don't lose rings when you get hit. There was all you need is one blue sphere in order to get the Chaos Emeralds. So it was like, I had like Supersonic by like Hydro City, and then I had
so funny.
like the end of Hydro City, I was already Supersonic, and then like
that's so great.
I was immediately hypersonic as soon as I got into the Sonic and Knuckles content.
Hilarious.
But and then when I was down in Florida and I had access to both systems, I continued to just be obsessed with Sonic, even though I had my SNES out of packing or out of storage and everything. And so I went and bought Sonic 1, and I was like, well, let's see what like the first game is all about. I went with a Game Gear over a Game Boy so I could play Sonic games. I actually love Triple Trouble and Chaos. And it's funny because I actually told Ed Boon this story, but Mortal Kombat on Game Gear was the one version of Mortal Kombat my parents would let me have.
Oh my God.
And that's because there was no blood in it. And then I was reading an issue of Game Pro, and they had a code in the back of it for like how to enable blood on Vita.
Oh,
and
that's
my parents spotted that I had blood on, and they're like, "Well, you're not playing this game anymore."
So, no more.
That was the first video game I ever got in trouble with. But yeah, Game Gear was my handheld system until Pokemon came out, and then I got a Game Boy Color and played Pokemon.
Yeah,
that's another one of my favorite franchises. But yeah, I mean, Sonic is also the reason I went with Dreamcast over a PS1.
Right.
Because or a PS2, because like, I mean, obviously I eventually did get a PS2 because Dreamcast unfortunately went the way that it did. Yeah, but yeah, Dreamcast was my jam for a while, and like, you know, I even got like super hard into like Crush 40, like because of Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. Like I found like their CD back in the day. Like they had a CD that they put out that was like only like the only 2 songs that were from the Sonic series were Live and Learn and Open Your Heart, and the rest of them were just original songs that they did. And so I was really into that, and you know, I played Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 to death. Eventually made the jump over to GameCube because they moved all the Sonic Adventure games over to that.
It's funny because that's how I played Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. I played them on GameCube.
Oh, really?
I was born in 96. Okay. So when I'm a kid, I'm like I was like barely playing N64, and then I'm playing like my Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. Then like I get into Adventure from GameCube, like the Director's Cut and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. That's how I played those ones.
Yeah, oh my! So that actually brings up like I didn't like there was no like chance of me going to E3 as a kid. Like I've gone to several E3s now as a member of the media and the games industry, but like back in like the 90s, like when E3 was just first starting up, like my only entry into getting like checking out games before they were out or like playing games that were on systems that I just didn't own was going to Epcot in Florida. So I remember going there, and they had Sega CDs set up because they used to have like this big collaboration with Sega at it was either Epcot or one of the other parks down there. And there's a picture of me actually like posing like as a kid with like Sonic. There's like a thing of like Sonic with his arms crossed, and I was doing like the same pose. And then there's another picture of me playing Sonic CD like from like 1994 or something like that on my Instagram that I actually shared a few months ago.
Oh, that's
but like
funny.
So it's like I go way back with Sonic, and like I remember like I wanted a 32X so badly. Speaking of hitching your wagon to like the dead horse, like I wanted a 32X because I wanted to play Knuckles Chaotix so bad. And like, you know, that was the only way to play it, and still the only way to play it because those games are impossible to port.
I played it like just like a ROM on PC. It's so difficult, man. It's impossible to play.
It's I finally got to play it like, but I remember I was like saving up tickets at my local arcade, because they had a 32X for like 10,000 tickets or whatever the currency was that they had, and it was just like I got to like 600 tickets, and I'm like, this is never happening.
They do that on purpose. You'll never get it.
Absolutely. But so like I grew up reading the Sonic comics religiously.
Oh, the Archie ones.
The Archie run, and I've kept up a little bit with the IDW run. And speaking of which, just a little shameless plug here, but I don't know when this video is coming out, but I will have an interview with Ian Flynn talking about Sonic Frontiers, a written interview coming up later this week. Perfect. So that was kind of cool for me as a longtime reader of the Sonic comics also.
I mean, people are so excited for Ian Flynn being on the game, because for a long time it was Ken Pontac, and people are not too fond of the writing style that's been for the last few games, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Sonic Forces had so much promise coming into it in terms of like the story. Like, you know, Chaos is one of my favorite enemies of Sonic.
Yeah.
So to have like Chaos coming back and like all the enemies, it's like I don't know why the Deadly Six need to keep coming back. But like, you know,
I hate the Deadly Six, man. I hate them. Just everything about them. It's the way I describe Deadly Six is like it's like a 6-year-old drew them in a sketch pad, and that's how they are. I just hate everything about them so much.
They seem like such like a weird thing that should have just been a one-off, but now they keep appearing in subsequent games, and it's like, why?
It's Zavik, especially the Zavik. They don't want to let go of him, man. He just keeps.
They really don't. But like having Chaos come back, I was super excited about that. And then like they didn't do anything with him. and then it ended up all like, I mean, spoiler alert, but it all ended up being like an illusion, like a super unsatisfying story, and it's like, man, that sucks. Like,
I know, yeah.
So I'm really hopeful for this story, and like, what I played of it, like I played about 3 hours, a little bit over 3 hours of Sonic Frontiers, and it seems like the story's going in a really interesting direction, even if like I think there's some things that like feel maybe a little predictable,
right?
But like I don't know about you. I don't go to like Sonic games and be like, oh man, I can't wait to see how they're going to surprise me here. Like, it's just all I want from a Sonic game is like the same thing I would want from a roller coaster, right? I want some speed, I want some excitement, and I want just like a fun time, even if it's not going to like be like, you can see all the twists and turns coming, but you're still going to have fun going on the ride.
I think like Sonic's really interesting because like there are people that like really love the stories, like especially like adventure. I'd say like adventure 2 and 1, like especially I think 2 is like the ideal story for a lot of people, where it's like this mix of, it is really silly that these characters are doing what they do, but there is some seriousness to it, like the idea that like Eggman's grandfather is like tortured and like murdered in front of them on a video, and Shadow's origin with Maria and all this stuff. Like there's a side of Sonic where people really care about the story, but at the same time, that's why it's really unique, because it's like it is a platformer at the end of the day. It's like a high-speed platformer, but it does have this story and these characters people really care about, which is why I think it's been a big deal that the past few games, because you played like Generations. Have you played Generations? And
of course, I reviewed it back in the day.
Yeah, so like Gens and Colors and all these games, like they were really fun, especially, but it started becoming more like, here's Saturday morning cartoon style story, right? As opposed to like 06 and Adventure and Heroes, where it's like, let's try to have like this cohesive, cool story. And I wonder, like, you were saying with Frontiers, like you got a bit of the taste of it. Like, what's the tone in the beginning, like in the starting cutscene, stuff like that? Is it more,
I would say, mysterious?
Right. Okay.
Like,
as
so,
Izuka
like,
says.
there's two cutscenes that kick off the adventure. The first one is Eggman is like arriving on this island, which it's the Starfall Islands, which
is it CG or is it in game?
Yeah, it's CG, I believe.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it's been about 2 months since I've played it, so I mean, a little bit more than that actually. It was the beginning of May, but it was CG, I believe, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna harness the power or the secrets of this island or this artifact, and he tries to like install his AI into this artifact, and then like a voice comes over and then it like sucks him into it, and then the next cutscene is Sonic on the tornado with Tails and Amy.
That's cool. Amy was on tornado. That's cool.
Yeah, it was like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing here. And then like the skies are all like clear and everything. Then suddenly like Tails loses control of the plane, and then they fly through like a wormhole. And then you're just like dumped into like a Green Hill Zone looking level, and like it
just
takes
starts it like that. That's funny.
Yeah, and he's like, "What's going on?" And then he runs through it, and then it kind of dumps Sonic back out into the open zone.
The open zone, okay.
And he's like, "That's weird. Like, I'm alone now. Like, where's everybody?" And then like this voice comes over, and it's like, "Oh, he's done the impossible. He escaped from cyberspace."
Interesting.
And like then you just kind of go along your way, like, and I run along. I'm like, okay, let me just open the map and see what's out there. And there's like there was a mark for like, it was like, I think it was 2 crossed swords, and it said formidable enemy. And you can actually read a lot more about that. Like, by the time this video goes up, I have like super in-depth impressions of the combat and the boss battles that I went through. As well as a few more quotes from Izuka and Kishimoto. So, but yeah, like the basic thing is like, there's like a cross sword icon, and it was like formidable enemy. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go do that and see what that's all about. So like,
is it like, so it's like open worldy where like you press the map and there's already icons for what to do, or is it like some?
So it's kind of fogged over.
Okay, the fog. Okay.
And then by completing puzzles in the world, it opens up like kind of a view. Right. It's almost like the Assassin's Creed. You scale a tower and like it synchronizes and it opens up a little bit of the map. It's that way, only you're solving puzzles in the world. And like the first ones are like super easy. It's like, all right, like rotate these statues to face the same way. It's like that was easy. And then like they were starting to get a little bit more challenging. There was one near the end of my playthrough where it was like you hit this switch, and then it like started a timer, and then it gave you a destination at like this top of this like distant tower, and you had to basically speed run through this like obstacle course to get to the top. And that was cool because it was like, all right, do I like, he can climb kind of like Link in Breath of the Wild, or he can like wall run up the wall. And it's like, I could wall run this, but I could also like, it's a little bit tougher because you might like misstep, or because you're going faster, so you might fall. So you have to be like careful in that regard, and like kind of weigh the risk and reward. So those were the ones that I really enjoyed. I'm excited to, I mean, because I was only about 3 hours, a little bit over 3 hours in, and they were already getting like much more engaging than they were at the start.
That's longer than Forces. Your 3 hours is longer than the entirety it is to play Forces.
What really intrigues me is that in asking Izuka, like, hey, what is the, like, how long is this game? And he's like, this is the longest Sonic game. I think it's the longest mainline Sonic game. Sonic 06 was deceptively long. Like that game just drags on forever. And I mean, especially when you take into account how many unearned deaths you have in that game, and like, how many times you had to restart that silver boss battle. But
it's no use.
Oh my god, yeah.
Trauma.
I swear that his voice line is like just burned into my brain from playing that game so many times.
He's basically like Trunks, but he ruins your life instead of being a cool dude.
He's going back in time to ruin your life and ruin your playthrough of this game. Which is why I'm actually so excited for that P06
Project
remake.
06. Yeah.
I'm really
I've already
excited
played.
for that.
They already have like episodes Sonic and Shadow. It's really good. It's really well done.
Yeah, I really want to play that. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm actually, because I just played through Origins, obviously. So I've played through Origins twice already. And I am looking at maybe doing like a full replay of all the Sonic games that I have access to, because like just so in the lead up to Frontiers, I kind of want to like replay all the Sonic games. But like Heroes is going to be a little tough. I might have to dig out my GameCube, which is like way back in like storage in my basement. But like, yeah, I'm kind of thinking about doing that. But like 06 is like, oh man, do I really want to replay 06?
I just do Project 06. Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, that might be what I do.
I think it's good for me. Like streaming was like what almost gave me an excuse to go through all the games, because people would be like, oh, play this one, play this one. So like I've almost gotten to replay like most of them within the last 2 years too. And like it's funny when you get them from an older perspective that like you actually enjoy a lot of them more than you'd remember, but you also remember some of them are just like, I hate, like I couldn't stand Secret Rings still to this day. It's just it's really bad.
Those Wii games up until Colors really didn't do anything for me. Like Colors is great.
I like Colors, is awesome.
Colors, Generations, that Unleashed, that era, I mean, at least the daytime stages of Unleashed are all awesome. And
I love Black Knight, like aesthetic. I love just the idea side with the sword, the music, the style of it is really good. I that one I love, but Secret Rings I didn't, because you have to use the motion. Whereas like to move left or whereas Black Knight, at least you just have to like swing and then you can just move. But
in theory, Secret Rings should be great, because I think that like Sonic is, if there's any character who works well in kind of like the linear endless runner type of style, of course, which I know Secret Rings is an endless runner, but like, you know, I play Sonic Dash every once in a while on my phone. Especially now that I have Apple Arcade, because there's one without microtransactions and ads, Sonic Dash Plus. I just discovered that like a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this is awesome, because the ads are the worst part of this game.
I know.
The microtransactions. So like, you know, that should be good, because like also like during like Unleashed, like when you're just kind of running down a path and like you're using the buttons to kind of bounce back and forth on like either a rail or on like a linear path, like those are like some of the most fun times. So like making that an entire game, I wish it was a little bit more fleshed out, but like that type of thing should be great for this franchise. Like it should translate perfectly. It didn't really work for me on Secret Rings.
Fair. But yeah, no, I was gonna say like back to Frontiers. So like, you're dropped into this world. Is it just like you said like the formidable foe thing, but is it sort of like, is it you have your core thing and you can go do whatever really, or is it like you have your clear story missions, like, and how is it like what's like the general mission structure?
The gameplay loop that I found was you go around to the world, like you can do pretty much whatever you want. The way that they wanted was like, hey, we can go like in any direction you want. You can tackle any objectives you want. So I go over, find the formidable enemy because I'm like, all right, I want to try like my hand at the new combat. And I get in there and it's a ninja. That's the name of the enemy. And
Right,
it's
right.
like this robot looking creature thing with
the
like
thigh
the blade.
lady, as they like to call it, as the internet has dubbed her.
But yeah, like the blade for arms, and like so I'm like, all right, well, let me do the homing attack and then get in with the combo, and like it just immediately slashed me away, sent me flying, and rings went flying everywhere. So I finally beat it, and it's like, all right, well, that was much more engaging than like a typical Sonic like encounter.
Yeah, I mean, all of them have just been like homing attack recently.
Basically, yeah. And like Kishimoto actually got into that, where he's like, yeah, recently like in recent games, the boss battles have almost felt like mini games more than like boss battles.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to kind of get away from that and make it so it was more like in tune with like how Sonic would actually fight an enemy. And so that definitely shone through with my gameplay. Like, you know, the ninja it really just felt like it was one-on-one combat, and it felt good. And you had to kind of study the boss like battle patterns and movement patterns. Like, you know, I realized that like it would start spinning and like spinning its blades around in circles, and then once it like I would just kind of back off and let it do its thing, and then once it finished spinning, it left a little bit of an opening.
You go and attack, right?
And then that's when you could go in and attack. And then there were 3 other bosses that I fought. There was maybe 2 other bosses. No, there were 3. There was Tower, which was this like kind of like obelisk that falls into the ground, and then like it was a cool sequence actually, because you like start running towards it, and like the camera kind of swung behind me, and it was like using the shoulder buttons to go back and forth as like you're dodging the projectiles it's shooting you at.
Right.
And then you get in close and you can do the melee attacks. And I said this in my article, but like it reminded me of like the egg rocket from Sonic 3, from Launch Base Zone, where you destroy it segment by segment. Each time you destroy it, it gets a little bit shorter.
Yeah. I've seen the footage of that enemy. So
that was a really fun encounter, and like it was very different from the ninja. And then the next one was Ashura, which is like this tall, like almost like as tall as like a building, and it slams its arm down. You have to run up the arm
with the blue and red,
and like blue and red. Like the blues I think are boosts, and the red are like they are like obstacles. So like, you know, you get up there and you destroy all 3 of its spires, and each time you go up the arm, it's different. Like it's more difficult to get up to the top. And then my favorite one was the flyer, which we saw in the Sonic Central, where it was like this kind of like dragon-looking thing. Yeah, cool. It was the hardest one for sure.
Really?
And like, so like you get on its tail. That's the hard thing in the first place, honestly. Like it took me a second to be like, all right, how do I get on that thing's tail? Because it's just flying around like a dragon, basically, like in Breath of the Wild.
In a certain place, or is it like Breath of the Wild, where it's like anywhere within that like area?
So I don't know like if it's like predetermined path, but it was just kind of like flying around. I was like at the top of a tower near the end of my gameplay, and I looked off in the distance. I'm like, what's that thing? I want to go see what that thing is. So like I ran over, and like I had to wait for it to like fly underneath one of the bridges, and then I jumped on, and then it like the tail turns into almost like a treadmill, like a path, and you're running on it, and it's shooting like lasers at you. And same thing, you have to dodge the projectiles using the shoulder button.
It's a 3-path.
Yeah, long enough to get up to the front, hit it in its face, and then it drops and it turns into like an arena battle.
Oh, really? That's sick.
Yeah. So it'll like it kind of forms like a platform with its tail, like a circular platform, like an arena, and then like you have to fight it, and it's like kind of like going around,
sick.
and like you have to dodge its attacks and everything.
You have in the combat, right? Like, what are your main things, right? You have like, because I know you have like the perfect dodge you could do, like the Bayonetta style slow-mo. You have like the side loop. Is it just like then besides that, just the punches and kicks?
So there's the homing attack, which is on a different. It's not like pressing the jump button twice. You actually press it's the X button on the Xbox controller. So it's like square on the PS.
So it's like it wasn't unleashed. Okay, it's interesting.
So yeah, you do that, and then you can press that button again to do like melee combo. And there's a skill tree that opens up new things. You can do parries and everything, which like what you were alluding to, where like if you time it right, it'll slow down and it give you like a huge combo that you can unleash if you do it right. There's also so Psyloop is the first thing you unlock in the skill tree, and then there were other ones. Let me see if I can bring them up here on my story. But like there was one. Okay, so 3 that I took note of. There was Sonic Boom, which is a very interesting name, but it actually it's fitting, I think, because it almost reminds me of Guile's Sonic Boom from Street Fighter.
Right. Oh, you're talking about that flurry kick thing he does.
He shoots like projectiles mid-combo. There's Wild Crash, which allows Sonic to run like zigzag pattern towards enemies.
Right.
So I guess it'll like allow him to dodge projectiles on like his approach more easily.
Right. When you played that, I'm curious because I've seen that zigzag attack. Was it like fluid, or is it like what some of us have seen where like it just like teleports you up and you zigzag?
So unfortunately, I didn't get to unlock it. I just kind of wrote these down when I was playing.
Cool,
I just was like, let me look at the skill tree and see like what I can take note of. Okay, you just
wrote it down. Right.
Yeah. And then there was Excel Rush, which gives you like increased melee power, like when you have a maxed out combo.
Okay.
So like I don't think you're gonna get like, just to kind of set expectations, I don't think you're gonna get like a Devil May Cry level of like
DMC.
Combat, but like there's different ways you can approach enemies. Like the Psyloop seems like it has a lot of utility. Like for the tower, like I mostly use like the homing attack into combos. But if you want to draw a Psyloop around it, it'll also destroy a section of him.
Okay, that's cool.
And then there's also like for like the Psyloop, also there was an enemy that's just like a non-boss enemy out in the world that was like just this super heavily armored enemy, and it like, all right, well, homing attack's not doing anything, combo's not doing anything, so I drew a Psyloop around it and it like flipped him upside down and allowed me to.
It's that like flower enemy, right?
Yeah, it looked like a flower. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the enemies that I encountered, there was one that was like this like spherical blob like enemy that had
the
like,
one with all the balls on it.
Yeah, so like you gotta use the combo to take him out, and then like, but if you get too close, he starts doing like an electric charge through him.
Okay, so
and if you're still like hitting him while he's electrically charged, it'll hurt you, and then like while you're still trying to recover, he'll regenerate his armor.
Okay.
So you have to like time it right, bouncing back and forth between like, all right, I'm attacking him. All right, she's charging up his electricity. I gotta like lay off and then let him stop that, and then go back to it before he starts regenerating his armor.
Right.
It took me a while the first time, but like then like I encountered him a few more times. I was like, all right, I got him. And then there's this other one that's like this like wheel like creature that like he doesn't seem like he does anything, but like if you defeat him or if you're like hanging around him too much, he'll just start chasing you like almost like a unicycle. And then like if like he'll start flashing and he'll explode and like take you out. Like so you either defeat him or you spend too much time around him, he'll start chasing you and then like self-destruct around you.
That's
like it kind of sets off like a quick chase. Like it doesn't last very long, but like it's kind of cool to be like, all right, I got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. That actually I saw it like because they put like the name entries for the enemies. That enemy is called a banger. And
is it?
People were like replying to tweets being like, oh man, this tweet is and then they just put the picture of that enemy. It's great. But I was gonna ask, since you were talking about the combos, so is it like when you're getting combos, is it like you're seeing like 1, 2, 3, 4, or is it like you're getting C rank, B rank, A rank? Or
during the combos?
Yeah, when you're getting combos and stuff.
Honestly, like I don't remember. it wasn't like CB, A, S rank or anything like that. You do get those ranks in the cyberspace level.
In the cyberspace, of course, yeah.
And like those are based on like, all right, did you collect like the red star coins?
The 5 red stars.
Did you finish the level with enough rings? Like
and
all of those grant you. So we actually, I'm just realizing that we went way off course here because you asked like what the gameplay loop is. So you go around, you fight the bosses. They give you these keys that let you, I believe, they're called portal gears. There's so many different like names. So those give you access to cyberspace. Like you need a certain number to get into each cyberspace level.
Interesting.
And then you go in there, and then based on your performance, like what rank you get, like what optional objectives you complete, those give you vault keys or chaos emerald vaults, I believe they're called. Chaos emerald vaults. And those then like you go and once you have enough of the keys to get the chaos emerald, you go and get that, and then that's one chaos emerald. And then you go back and it's like, all right, well, I got to go fight more bosses, I guess, to get the keys. I'm sure there's other ways to get it. Like one of the mission chains that I encountered excuse me was I found Amy, and she was just like trapped in cyberspace, and it's like you could barely hear her, but like you go around and you have to collect hearts out in the world, and that's like her like a representation of who she is. I'm assuming you're going to do this with Tails on another island, and I mean, I would also speculate Knuckles is going to be in it because he's part of that prequel animation.
That prequel animation.
So I bet like that animation probably ends with him getting sucked into cyberspace as well. But like, that's also a way that you can get additional collectibles. Like even talking to Kishimoto, he was like, if you don't want to play the cyberspace levels, there are ways to progress the story without doing cyberspace. And I'm like, really?
Like, Amy's not in the cyberspace. Her like the hard things are just in the open world.
They're in the world, yeah.
Okay.
And then as you complete more, it's like, all right, the first one, it's like you have to like collect like 12 hearts in the world, and then that opens up her first mission. Or I mean, that's just an estimate.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not. I think I don't remember the
No,
exact
that's
numbers,
yeah.
but like, and then I remember one was like in the 30s somewhere, and I got up to like 4 or 5 of her missions. And
interesting. Okay, so she has a lot. Okay.
Yeah, and there was like a cutscene at the end of the last one that I did, and I was like, okay, so like there is a story involved with like her as well.
Right.
Her thing is like she wants to help the Coco, which are like those like little creatures that are out in the world. So she wants to help like reunite them. And there are hermit
Do
Coco.
They have amnesia? Is that like the thing? Like because that was unclear. Like when you find them, like they know each other. They have like their memories. They're fine.
I'm not sure. Like they're just kind of like creatures that live on the island. And
no, I meant like Amy. Amy.
Like she
Amy
seems to remember. She seems to remember. Like, all right, this is Sonic helping me. This is like, you know, I just kind of want to help the Coco. And like as you complete her missions, it seems like her ability to like communicate with you gets a little bit stronger. And like,
cool.
I'm assuming eventually you'll free her and she'll be able to be out in the world or something. I don't know like what happens like when you free her, but like, you know, there was a cutscene that happened. And I intentionally did not want to spoil it because it seems like it's something pretty big.
Okay.
And then, but there was a cutscene after I completed one of the cyberspace levels where, you know, Sonic and this mysterious like little kid-looking creature.
Sage, the new little Isn't she the voice?
I think she's the voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like a Titan comes out, which was the original instruction that she gave Sonic after he escaped cyberspace for the first time was defeat the Titans.
Interesting. So she's helping him.
Seemingly, but like it also seems like she might be.
She's got some menace.
Like she might have a little bit of like self-interest, like kind of some bad intent as well. Maybe I don't know. It's very hard to read her because like she's like a little stoic, but like that would be my guess is there's going to be something there with that. And there's like this giant Titan appears, and she's like, don't try to attack him, like he's too powerful. And Sonic's like, well, I'm gonna try anyway. So he runs at it, and like the thing just like casts him aside like he's nothing. And he's like, well, I'm gonna need the Chaos Emeralds. It's like that brief
shot from the Direct, I think, where you kind of see him getting knocked out, right?
Probably.
And then you see a shot of it. It's like a big Titan. I don't think we've seen in gameplay yet, but you have.
Well, it wasn't in game. This was a cutscene.
It was just cutscene pure. Okay.
And he's like, well, I'm going to need like the Chaos Emeralds if I'm ever going to challenge that thing. So then that's kind of like his reasoning, I think, for collecting the Chaos Emeralds. But they were actually, the one line that I did leave out from the opening cutscene was they were actually tracking the Chaos Emeralds. That was why they came to that island.
Okay.
So they noticed the Chaos Emeralds. They were like, the Tails had like, it was like, I had like the reading from the Chaos Emeralds coming from the Starfall Islands. So that's why they were going there in the first place.
And how is also like a big important thing, like a lot of fans have been asking, is like, how's like the dialogue, like, because we like for us they have yet to show like Roger Craig Smith like say a single word. You know, we've heard grunts, I guess, when he gets hit. But how does Roger sound? Because it's been a while, and like there was that weird time where like he stopped. Where like he got weird. That was really weird. But then he came back. Like, how did he sound? You know, was he good? Was it?
I mean, he sounds great. I think that I mean, I used to be a big Ryan Drummond guy, but I think at this point, Roger Craig Smith is like the definitive voice of Sonic. Like, I think he does an incredible job. And you know, I think that like he continues to do really great in this as well. Like the dialogue was kind of limited. Like it was mostly in the cutscenes and every once in a while, because like, this was a very early build. This is an earlier build than what you saw with what IGN put out.
Really?
So I was playing I think a slightly earlier build than that. Like there were, I mean, it was definitely a thing where it was like there's some polish that they're going to need to do, but like, you know, that comes with any time I'm playing an early game, especially, you know, this could be that build could have been 6 months before the game finally comes out.
Because like there was like a Summer Games Fest like gameplay that came out, and that was like 4K 60 FPS with like way less pop in and stuff from the IGN stuff.
So like that's the thing is like, you know, a lot of people are concerned about the lack of polish in some of these demos, like the pop in and like maybe the inconsistent frame rate, but like really like polish is often the last thing that happens in a lot of game development. I mean, even like when we'll get review codes sometimes, like, you know, a couple weeks before it comes out, they're like, hey, just so you know, there's going to be a day one patch that's going to have like all these like bug fixes and everything. And it's like, all right, well, like, I mean, that's pretty common practice. So it's like, we have to, so like, you kind of have to give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Unfortunately, you know,
of course,
past Sonic games haven't really earned that, especially games like Sonic 06. But you know, there's a whole story about how they had to like basically skip much of QA because of meeting deadlines for getting the game out. So it's like
crazy.
You know, like I understand why people are concerned with like the early footage, especially with like the technical aspect. But I think that like we're gonna continue to see footage, and it's going to look better and better each time we see it.
Yeah. I think
that's my hope anyway. Like, you know, I'm
yeah,
optimistic about it.
Yeah. But yeah, so you're saying like the dialogue, it's more like, was it still like was it like quippy? They were making jokes with each other? Or is it more like they're just talking, sort of trying to figure out what's going on with where they are?
It was a lot of both, honestly. Like, I would say more figuring out where they were, but there were some like little quips and jokes. But Sonic is alone for much of this game. But yeah,
does he talk alone or no?
He does talk a little bit. Like,
okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's not just like a completely quiet thing. Like, it's not like super quiet like Breath of the Wild or anything like that. Yeah. But like, you know, you definitely hear Roger Craig Smith, even if it's just like grunts or like chuckles when something happens. Like he talks to himself. I remember one, he was just like, and this is why I asked Izuka in that rapid fire, like, is the Chow Garden in this? Because Ian Flynn actually wrote a lot of like kind of dialogue for Sonic to just say to himself. Like, and one of them was,
I love
that. This island seems like it would be a great place for a Chow Garden. And Izuka told me that the reason that they did those types of things was to show that this is connected to the rest of the Sonic timeline, the rest of the Sonic story. And this is the latest story on the Sonic timeline to date.
Cool.
So like, you know, he's like kind of, he calls back a lot to other things happening.
That's awesome. I love that.
In the Sonic story so far.
That's cool. Was there anything else he said? Like that
I'm trying to remember. That was the one that like really
was the one that stood out. Yeah.
I have a book here that literally has like 12 pages of handwritten notes.
That's so funny.
And I'm trying to see
about Sonic. That's great.
God, yeah, I'm trying to see like if I can bring up any other things.
It'd be great.
But yeah, like him wondering if like this is like a good place for a Chow Garden. This might be a pretty rough. I have just pages and pages of handwritten notes.
That's insane.
But yeah, like it might be hard to find anything.
Yeah, it's fine if you can't tell it. But no, I was gonna say like that's good because like I feel like it kind of reminds me of like Spider-Man a bit, where like he is the type of character that would just like talk to himself, you know, out loud and make just jokes and stuff. So that's good to know because people thought like he'd be completely silent or were worried about that. But it's good that he has like they gave him lines to just say out in the wild. I was gonna say, so like obviously like I've seen from your videos and every interview, right? Izuka seems very adamant on saying open zone, right? Not open world. How does that translate in the gameplay? When you've been in the open zone, how did you like? Do you think he was right? Like, obviously, it's very clearly an open world, but like, do you understand his intent when you were playing and like running around the environment?
You know, I was pretty adamant about just calling it open world in my story. And I ultimately, when hearing their justification, I was like, all right, well, I'll change some of these references to open zone as well. Because it was like, the way that they almost described it was, we want this to be like kind of like a stage clear game and evolve that, but we want to have a giant playable hub world that kind of evolves the concepts that you saw in Sonic Adventure, where it was like, all right, you can run around, do whatever you want in this, but now it's like a big playable area that you can go as fast as you can in like the main stages, the linear stages. They also hate that term because, you know, Sonic is by definition like a Sonic stage is like branching paths and everything, but the point A to point B style of stage you get with the Cyberspace and like other Sonic games. They wanted to kind of make those the stars of the show, but you could spend hours out in the open zone if you wanted to. So it's almost like a hub world that acts as like the way that you access these more linear stages.
Right.
But like, I think at the end of the day, these are, I don't know if like the way to think about it is almost like Pokemon Legends Arceus, where it's like a bunch of segmented open areas, because you know, Izuka's told me that like we're going to all the different islands. I was only on Kronos Island, so I would imagine that each individual island is going to be its own like kind of segmented open world, similar to the different regions of the Hisui region in Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Right. It's hard to tell since it's Sonic and they make it really big because he can run fast through them. But like, how big was it? Are we talking like what's the approximate, you think? Like, what's a good comparison?
It's tough just because like, You know, that's the other thing is like I zoomed out and it was a pretty substantial map.
Okay.
Kronos Island. I didn't see the entire map when I was playing.
Right.
But you know, it was pretty large. Like it was, I would say it was bigger than the. I mean, again, this was 2 months ago and only a little bit over 3 hours of playtime, but it felt bigger than any of like the areas in Pokemon Legends.
Right. Yeah. It kind of has to be because like he just runs through it really quick. Yeah.
And that's kind of been like my thought on when everybody's complaining about how kind of empty the world looks, is that like you can't have the same density that a game like Elden Ring would have. Right. Because like your character moves so much slower through the world. So like the time to engagement is something that you need to be more concerned about. Like, all right, if you have the same density as something like Elden Ring, you're going to just be running into enemies and obstacles just constantly when you're moving through as fast as Sonic is. So that's kind of why the apparent emptiness didn't really bother me so much during my playthrough. Like I didn't even think it was that empty. Like I was like, when you're standing still, it looks empty, but like, or like when you're watching it, like just kind of like a sizzle reel type of clip type of thing. That's when it looks and feels empty. But once you get moving, it's like, all right, I get through this world so fast. Yeah. That's something that actually they do really well, is like you can do traditional fast travel like through the map and like the menus by once you find the elder or the hermit Coco, right, which are the creatures that you go to like upgrade Sonic. So you can upgrade his speed, his attack, his health, and his ring capacity through these characters. And you can also use them as like traditional fast travel points. But if you don't want to leave the world and you just kind of want to use his speed to get through the world, as you open new areas, like I defeated the ninja, it opened up this big door and it made it so I could access a whole new area of the island. These rails start appearing and like lines of rings, so like you can like travel, almost like fast travel without leaving the game. Because
people were because obviously when like that first IGN game, like people were wondering like, why are there random rails everywhere? Like it seemed very random that there were like random rails in the sky, on the ground, or everywhere. So you're saying like when you do more stuff, is it specifically like bosses that open up like rails, or is it like Cyberspace, or is it everything? Like everything you do just creates them.
It's probably a combination. Looking back and like trying to like pick through my memory, I think that there were some times where I'd do a puzzle and it would open up a new area.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, Cyberspace seemed like it was the driving force for like triggering cutscenes and everything.
Okay.
But I don't remember if like doing Cyberspace opened any particular levels.
Okay.
Or, not levels, areas in the world.
Areas, yeah.
But like, and then once it seemed like every time I opened a new area, that was when it spawned these rails and like rings and everything. But like sometimes I'd get to an area and like those rails up in the sky were already there.
Okay,
because
were you able to get to them, or is it just
there's like springs all over the place, and like they would get you up there, and then like it almost feels like a playground once you get up there. Like
cool.
I don't know if you played Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury.
Yeah.
Like Bowser's Fury, I think is like kind of a good comparison to how the open world of Sonic Frontiers or open zone of Sonic Frontiers feels. Because like there's just like, all right, you can go do this, you can go do this, you can go do this, and then like there's just like these kind of like scattered like obstacle courses, like, all right, well that's kind of random, but like there's like collectibles up there that you can get, or like power-ups or whatever. Not power-ups, I guess there weren't really any power-ups that I found anyway, aside from like getting like skill points to unlock the skill tree. But like, there's like, you can be like, all right, well I don't know what that obstacle course is going to do, but it's probably going to be fun to like grind along the rails, and like, or like there's a tower I can climb. There's probably going to be something cool at the top of that. Maybe there's going to be like Amy Hearts, or like more Coco to collect.
Are the Amy Hearts and Cocos marked, or is it completely like you just find it?
The Amy Hearts, I believe, were marked. The Coco, I think you have to find them, makes sense, and then they appear on your map.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking like, because they're like small, like especially the hearts, I'd feel like it would be hard to just find them. But and the Cocos, right? So explain a bit about the Cocos, right? Because everyone's wondering, you said I'm in love with the Coco. Is Zuka very confused? I got it though. I understand what you're doing. Don't worry.
I had to explain that a little bit to him afterwards.
What's it called? But so like the Cocos, right? Obviously they're essentially like the little chow cute, like they're literally Korok seeds. It's very hard to, I don't know. They really did go on the nose with them. But like what's their principle? So you get them and you give them to the elder, and that's how you get upgrades. Like what's their whole flow?
So I think one of them, I forget what the let me bring up my notes. One of the Coco, you are bringing back other Coco to them. The other one, you are bringing a certain collectible. I forget what the collectible is, but like Coco, the Hermit Coco raises your strength and resilience. The Elder Coco enhances your speed or your ring limit, I believe.
Do they look like just big versions of those Cocos?
Basically, like they're a little bit different. It's the memory's a little hazy there,
but
that's fine. But yeah, that's basically the principle of it. Like the map icons I saw were like Elder Coco, Hermit Coco. So I guess they are on the map beforehand because I wrote this at the very beginning. Fishing place, which you know, is I mentioned this in one of my stories, but I found Big the cat.
So he wasn't in a cyberspace, he was just fishing randomly on the island?
I think you do have to go into cyberspace in order to find him. Like he has his own little, like I believe he has his own little pocket of cyberspace.
Interesting.
And you collect, I think they're purple coins that you collect out in the world, and then you can bring them to him. And
the purple coins are for him?
I believe so. I mean, again, like don't take this as like gospel, but I'm trying to
piece it together.
And Amy is on the map. Amy's parts are on the map. A big challenge. Which I believe. I mean, some of these aren't fully translated at the time.
So what does it mean, like the pocket of cyberspace? Like when you find Big, does he puts you in a level, or he just
no? It's like a fishing mini game, basically. Like I only found it once, and because I was like, well, this is cool, but like I did like this tutorial, and like, all right, so that's how you fish. And then he was like, all right, well, once like if you bring me coins, I'll let you fish, and then like based on the fish that you catch, I'll give you like this currency, and you can trade it to me for my shop. And like his shop actually had good stuff. Like it had like the Chaos Emerald vault keys. It had like portal. Like it had like a lot of like
So like you don't even have to do the cyberspace levels to get the vault keys.
Yeah, it seemed like it was it was pretty flexible with what you could do. So yeah, so here's what I had. See, it's a fishing mini game. Purple coins throughout the world could be traded for fishing chances, and he has items like voice diaries, Chaos Emerald keys, and rings that you can buy from him. So it seems pretty.
That's cool. That's cool. A Sonic game having voice diaries. We've never had that.
I'm assuming it'll be like things that he found in cyberspace. Yeah, like Amy trying to figure stuff out. So it's probably going to flesh out the story a whole lot.
But again, this is very important, right? Because we remember Sonic Adventure, right? What was the fishing minigame? Like, is it like, are you Big? Are you Sonic?
You're Sonic.
Okay, you're Sonic. And what does it play like?
I think you just cast it out, and then you have to time it with when the fish takes it.
Okay,
and then you reel it in from there. Again, I only did it one time, so it wasn't a whole lot of stuff to remember. But I believe like you have to just kind of reel it in. It was just a pretty standard fishing mini game of like make sure like you're not reeling in too much and
interesting. Okay, cool.
Don't want the line to break.
But it's like fairly easy. It's not like Bass Pro Fishing.
I mean, it didn't seem like it was super involved, but like. Cool. That would be amazing if it was like Bass Pro Fishing and like they gave you like the old Dreamcast fishing controller.
Yeah. Or
I'd be all about that.
Or if they just made it like insufferable, like you're Big and it's just like adventure, and you just gotta. Oh, that was awful. The fishing game adventure was so bad, but it's funny.
I did not see Froggy, but I would be very surprised if Froggy's not in this in some way. Like, I mean, maybe that's like the most valuable fish you can catch. Who knows?
It has
that's
to
only
be.
speculation.
Yeah. Like
that's
the
what
way
I think.
Yeah, like it's got to be like. You know, like in Breath of the Wild, if you get all the Korok seeds, they just give you the golden turd. You just get Froggy. Froggy's your golden turd this time around. That would be great.
That would be.
Did they give you? Was there like, was it specified like on this island? Is it? You said Kronos Island, right?
Yeah.
Is it like 100 Cocos? Like, does it tell you how many, or is it just?
I don't think that it gave me like a number.
Count? Okay, cool.
So yeah, I just kind of was going around collecting whatever I could, basically, and seeing as many sites as I could as I was playing.
Yeah, but I mean, we haven't even talked about this, like, I think this is really important. I've gotten like people asked me this question to ask them thoughts, like, how is the movement, like moving Sonic? Because I think there's a big difference between like the adventure era where it's more like, you know, you can run around with some speed, but it's not like high speed, versus like boost era where it is like you are straight line fast as possible. How is the movement in this area? Like, what does it feel like more?
It honestly just it felt really good to like I was concerned with like, just going in of like, all right, well, how's it gonna feel like in a big open area? And it felt really good. Like he has like the right weight, he feels connected to the ground, but he still moves really fast. I wouldn't say it's like boost era fast, like in terms of like when you're actually pressing the boost button, but like you can get little speed boosts and go through it that way. You're definitely gonna fly through this open area.
For sure.
Like if you have a destination, you're gonna get there pretty fast, I would imagine, just by the nature of the character.
Yeah, of course.
But like he feels good. The only time I was like a little like, oh, this could use a little bit more tweaking was like in like the precise platforming, like going up, like jumping up to a new platform. You could do a double jump. If you double tap, you'll do a double jump, and that sometimes felt a little finicky. And like maybe like not as intuitive as it could, but like there's time to make that feel a little bit better. But I was very satisfied with how he felt going through the world.
Yeah, how is the boost? Because like we see like in trailers, like you can press R2 or something to do a boost. Is it like you have the boost meter, or is it just like a boost that you just get if you press it?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to think.
Yeah, because I was thinking, because I've seen them in gameplay do a boost, but like you just sort of see this like gust of like wind push with them, instead of like here's a big boost you're doing in like the boost games.
I don't remember 100%. I don't think it was like limitless or anything like that. I don't think it was just like a press it and he boosts forward. I think like it was maybe like a temporary thing that operates on kind of a cooldown, but I'm not 100% on that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fair. No, you're good. You're good. Don't worry. And when you played, was the trick system still fucked? Where it was he just looks like he has a broken leg in the air?
Or I didn't notice that. Like he seemed like he was mostly fine. Whenever I was out there.
Okay. Because like there's like when we've seen gameplay, at least for us, like whenever you get to that, in side games and you press like good, great, awesome, he does like different tricks. Whereas like in the gameplay we saw, it was just like his legs slightly goes upwards, and it's really awkward.
Yeah, I didn't notice that when I was playing. So
maybe you played it the tricks were good.
And it could have happened without me realizing it, because I was trying to like just take as much of it in as I could. There's just so much with this game that you have to kind of keep an eye out for. Like I was trying to give like I mean, like you said, like we're always all about like giving like the deep dive, but like when you only have like 3 hours with like an open area or open world game, like it's like I just gotta like see as much of this as I can and like just basically take all the notes that I can. Like I said, like I have like
that's
12
great.
pages of handwritten notes here.
It's amazing. I was gonna ask, music, obviously a very important part of Sonic, and we still have to talk about Cyberspace. That's a big thing, but I think music is like obviously an incredibly important part of Sonic, and they've said how they want things to be more calm and open world, and you get more bombastic in Cyberspace. Like, how's the music like? Is it like, does it develop as you're running? Like, is it the faster you go, some sounds? So like, how's all that? How did it sound?
It sounded fine. I think if I recall correctly, the music out in the open zone was more like ambiance than anything else.
The ambiance stuff.
It seemed pretty minimalist, as you had indicated, and then it was a little bit more intense in the cyberspace stages, but nothing that I like immediately recall in terms of like, all right, well, this is like an earworm, like chemical plant zone or anything like that, like the Sonic 2 chemical plant zone theme.
Is there a battle theme? Like, is there like a song that plays when you get in a fight?
Oh, jeez. I think that's deeper than my memory is going, but I think there was. I think there was music that kind of picked up when you were fighting like a boss.
Different
enemies. I could be very wrong about that.
So for Cyberspace, it's like because I mean Cyberspace, right? Like we'll start with the songs because we're on that. Like, was it like, you don't recall, like, because you played like Green Hill, was it like a remix of a Green Hill song?
No, it wasn't any Green Hill song that I recalled. I think it was something completely new.
Okay, that's cool.
So it wasn't like, all right, we're gonna hear the Chemical Plant Zone song again for the 30th time, like the 15th remix that we've gotten of this song.
So it's not even remixes of those songs in those levels.
I don't believe so.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But Cyberspace, right? Big part of the game. Something a lot of fans have been wondering about. It's funny because Cyberspace levels leaked like 3 years ago. There's like old leaks online when people first found this game where they were saying, yeah, you could go to these like levels that were like generations and these stuff. So talk to me about that, because that's it's weird because it's a big part of the game, but it's also like they're almost like special stages, right? Would you say
feels that way sometimes, like the way they're kind of like tucked away in like these special places that you have to access them when you have a certain number of collectibles. Like I mean, in the classic games, it was rings. You had to like go past the goalpost or like you'd find the giant ring. That's how it almost feels. But like these, I think it's underrated how big of a role these are going to play in the game. Like if I had to guess, like the open zone is getting all the attention. And I've had to stop myself saying open world every single time, but like the open zone is getting all the attention.
We'll find you.
But like I think that it's they're going to play a pretty large role. I played I think 5 or 6 of them when I was playing, and there was one. I mean, there were 2 that were themed after Green Hill Zone.
So there's 2 Green Hill Zone ones.
There was one that was chemical plant pretty clearly, and then there was one that I described as kind of like a metropolis, but I was using that term maybe a little bit looser. I don't know if it was actually like Metropolis Zone. From one of the games. It might have just been like one of the cities.
Yeah, that was the highway one we saw in the direct. Yeah.
I think it might have been. But and then there was one that I don't know if it was Rooftop Run or it was like a Sonic Unleashed themed stage.
Okay.
But yeah, they were all fun. There are some tweaks that they still need to do with those, but I think they're the highlights, or not the highlights, but a highlight of the game. Like I think the gameplay loop of, you know, going out into the world, fighting whatever you want to fight, collecting whatever you want to collect, and then entering the like fighting bosses if you want to fight them, and or like there's other means of which you can access like cyberspace. And then going in and doing these linear stages that are like very curated action, very curated, on a path to be like a reward
almost.
It feels very good, and like it breaks up the pacing in like a really meaningful way. And I think that they did a great job with that. And that's why like it's so easy to fall into that gameplay loop. And it's like I didn't want to stop playing because I was like, all right, I'm in this loop. That's the mark of any good open world game. I know they're gonna kill me for using that. Maybe not kill me.
I know.
They don't like when I use that. Get sucked into cyberspace. But the like that's the mark of any open game, right? Like a good open game is like, do you get like once you're in the loop, once you're through all the tutorial nonsense, do you feel like you just want to like you complete the task? All right, do you get like the one more thing like syndrome where it's like, all right, I just want to keep playing, I want to do this, and then you want to do one more, and then you want to do one more after that, and one more after that. That's how I felt playing Sonic Frontiers. And like I don't know how it's going to turn out overall, but like the core gameplay loop is extremely solid. That's awesome.
And for like the cyberspace levels, you said like you played like a chemical plant. So how did the levels feel? Were they short, or were they like a regular length? Like, would you say like, because I know Force was heavily criticized for like the levels being like 1 minute, like it's almost like before it was gonna get good it would end kind of be. But how did they feel? Did they feel like almost the Unleashed level daytime stages, or were they a little smaller scale?
The first one was extremely short. Like it was, but it was just like a tutorial.
That's fine. Yeah,
I finished that in I think like 52 seconds. I think was like my time in the first one. So I ran through that, but like I think that they were getting longer. But again, I only played like the first 5 or 6, so it's hard to tell like where they're gonna go. Similar to like the puzzles, similar to the boss battles. It's like all right, where are we gonna go with this? How intricate are they gonna get? How long are they going to get? How many are there going to be? That's all like kind of remains to be seen, and that's why I'm like really excited for like the direction to go, because they were getting longer as I was going and like more difficult. Like it was either the chemical plant one or the city one that like really it took me a few tries to like.
That's cool. It's good.
Not like fall off the cliff when I went.
And
up
you felt like in them it was like Sonic, where like you had multiple paths you could take and stuff like that. Okay,
there was one where I was like, all right, well, I'm having a hard time with like this rail sequence. Let me go this other route. Like there was like the kind of like the zip line thing that you could do.
The zip line.
Or like maybe not the zip line, but like the handle that you jump on and like it pulls you up. I did that one instead. I was like, all right, I like this path more. So like there were branching paths and at least a couple of them.
That's good. And another part of it I want to ask about was, so like you would say, and so what are the challenges exactly to get more Volt Keys? So it's like, is it like 5 red rings, or was it like, because I know there's like the challenges in the cyberspace levels to get more stuff.
So I'm trying to find like if I wrote down exactly what they were. Cyberspace. So I do remember there was one like finish with certain number of rings. There was finish with finish with all the red star coins. Yeah, sorry, I'm like just thumbing through all of my notes here. But yeah, like there were all kinds of different challenges, and sorry, I can't find the exact.
No, you're good. You're good.
My handwriting is also complete chicken scratch, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. Oh, okay. So
there you go.
There was one that was like reach the goal, one that was get an S rank, one was end with 70 rings, and then one was all the red star rings.
Okay, that's cool.
So those are the optional objectives of the chemical plant one that I did.
Okay,
and all the enemies in the cyberspace stages carry over from the level in which they're inspired. So like you had like Motobug in the Green Hill Zone, and then you had
that's cool.
I forget what they're called, but those little like they look like kind of like triangles in chemical plant.
Right. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Those annoying things. They're
like the little
they're like the Mario World flower that shoot the little four things. Yeah. That's cool actually that they have specific enemies for those stages they're from. There was Sky Sanctuary, right? Because I thought we'd seen.
I don't think I played it. Okay, I didn't get to that. I don't think, but maybe they showed it off. But I know that the little tidbit from the Azuka Rapid Fire was that's his favorite classic Sonic song.
There you go.
And it's a certified banger.
Yeah,
speaking
of course.
Enemies in Sonic Frontiers.
The Sega banger. There you go. But so you would say like it's safe to assume on each island you're gathering the 7 Chaos Emeralds so that you could like fight the end boss with Supersonic.
That's my prediction anyway. Like, you know, I think you're probably going to gather the 7 Chaos Emeralds on Kronos Island, fight the Titan from that island, and then you're probably going to move on to the next one and then do the same thing over again. I don't know how the challenges are going to evolve, I'm assuming that like then you'll go to whatever the next Starfall Island is, and you're going to have to do like the same stuff, but like you're collecting you're gathering a collectible for Tails this time, maybe.
Yeah.
And like maybe the cyberspace stages are based on different zones or whatever, and then like there's probably going to be different enemy types. I would hope that we're going to get different enemy types. But yeah, that's kind of my prediction. I didn't get to see any of that play out. I only played on Kronos Island, and I didn't get to like finish the storyline on that island. So like I don't know if we're going to be doing the same stuff on each island, but that would be how I would kind of envision this game progressing.
Yeah. And like the Chaos Emeralds, you go to this are they in that like big triangle in the sky? Like where is the Chaos Emerald vault?
They're kind of in these vaults that are scattered throughout the island. One was just at the top of a hill, the other one was like on this plateau. So like once you have enough of the keys, you can go over, or the gears, whatever they're calling them. Sorry, like when I was playing, they all had kind of placeholder names.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So they've officially released like the names of them, and it's like I confused like the placeholder names with the actual official names that they've released since then. But yeah, once you have enough of the keys to get the Chaos Emerald out of the vault, then you just go to like the nearest one, and then you'll get that.
That's cool. And also obviously a big question people wanted: momentum, right? Did you feel momentum moving around?
Oh, like, definitely. Yeah. Like the movement I think felt great. You know,
like when you were going downhill, were you like picking up speed from going down the hill?
It's hard to know if it was from picking up speed from the hill or just like as I was running faster, but like I felt like there was good momentum as I started running and like stopped running.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, the only thing that I really had any issue with was kind of like how jumping felt when you did a double jump. Right. But other than that, like I thought that the movement felt great.
That's awesome. No, it's good to know. That's good to know that it at least feels good no matter what. But yeah, no, it's like overall, like how are you feeling about it? You know, from what you've seen, from what you played, like everything. How's what's it? Because I think personally, right, like. We've been in this boost formula for so long, and it's been really fun. And I know a lot of people have been critical of stuff like that, but I think I feel like I'm in that camp, and I don't know. Obviously, you've played it, so you have a better gauge than me. I'm like, I feel like no matter what, it's gonna be great just inherently from like how different it is, how much more fun it looks, how much more they're trying. Like you like again, it's like it can't be understated. Like the fact that you got to play 3 hours, have a good time, that is longer than Forces. And even those Cyberspace levels and stuff, like I just feel like they're doing so much more than usual.
Yeah, they are definitely trying a lot of new stuff, and it seems like they're on to a lot of those things, like, to pan out very well.
Mhm.
I'm optimistic. I think that, like, if as long as it doesn't come out in, like, kind of like a broken state,
Yeah,
I think it's going to be at the very least a fun time, even if, like,
that's good.
other parts of the game that I didn't get to see don't pan out, or, like, worst case scenarios happen with, like, all right, the content's really repetitive. I think at the very least it's going to be a good time for a short while, if nothing else,
Cool.
or maybe it's a good time for the entire
Yeah,
duration of the game.
yeah.
Like, I had a great time with my 3 hours. I wanted to play more, and I think that's a really promising sign. And
That's
then, like,
good.
we're talking about the boost era, we're talking about the classic era, and, like, the adventure years. And, like, I asked Izuka, like, what, like, the main goal of this project was, and his answer was to evolve the linear stage clearing 3D action that began with Sonic Adventure in 1998 and create a game that would be the cornerstone of future Sonic games.
That's great. I love that.
I would imagine if this is a success, they're going to continue with, like, the open zone formula, and that's exciting to me.
That's great. Yeah, no, I can't wait. As long if a foundation's dope, just keep building on it. That's like I compare this game almost to, like, Legends Arceus, where I'm like, as long as this formula is great, and not even if it's not perfect, people will be happy of the direction, and they'll be like, hey, it's gonna get better and improve as time goes on, which is really good. Oh yeah, and I was gonna ask, what was the thing I was gonna say about the? Oh yeah, is there a drop dash? Because some people were saying there is a drop dash somewhere. Unless you just didn't do it.
I don't think I used it at all, if there is. But
cool,
I mean, that would be great if there was, because I think that's one of the most meaningful additions to Sonic in years. I mean, maybe since the introduction of Boost. I mean, I would take drop dash over Wisps.
Oh yeah, any day. Yeah, I love drop dash. I'll take that 100%. And were there also mention of other characters? Like, what did someone throw out the name Shadow in the game, or Silver?
I didn't hear
Blaze?
Shadow. Oh man, I'm trying to think back to, like, some of, like, the voice lines that
Some of the things they say.
Like, one of them was the Chow Garden, which unfortunately is just kind of like a tease to, like, give the like a little shout out to, like, the timeline. But oh man, I'm trying to see if, like, there were any other quotes that I wrote down here, but I don't think, like, I mean, Eggman is obviously in the cutscenes,
right?
No idea how he's gonna play into the game at large.
Yeah,
like,
he has those ships, right, in the environment. Do they?
And, like,
share anything?
Sonic walks up to him and he's like, "Oh, what's Eggman tech doing here?"
That's funny.
And then, like, I couldn't do anything with it, so I'm assuming, like,
really?
later on in the story something will happen with
something
those.
activates. That's cool. Okay, interesting.
But yeah, like, Amy's Tails, I'm assuming Knuckles will be in it. But, like, I asked Izuka about the characters in the game, and he said the story begins as Sonic, Amy, and Tails visit undeveloped Kronos Island and are separated by a mysterious phenomenon. Sonic sets out alone to find his missing friends, but this is an undeveloped land that no one has visited before, so we won't be seeing a huge cast of characters.
Okay, I think that's cool. I think that's fine. As long as, like, I'd rather, like, quality over quantity. Because I think Forces was like, here's everything, but they're all whatever, essentially.
Well, that was what he said when I asked him in that rapid fire, like, why is classic Sonic in Sonic Forces? He's like, we just wanted to make a game with, like, all the characters, basically.
There you go. That's crazy. And I was wondering, so because you get your upgrades, was there, like, did you see, like, a level limit? Like, can you level up the Psy Loop to, like, 50, or was it like 20, or?
I don't think you level it up. There is a thing that, like, makes it so you automatically draw a Psy Loop, so you don't have to, like, draw it every single time.
Oh, that's
like,
cool.
That's like a later on upgrade, but I think, like, once you upgrade something in the skill tree,
upgrade, like, it's like a new thing ability to it.
So it's like another node in the skill tree.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Like, once you unlock Psy Loop, you don't do any more with that node. You just kind of keep going down the tree, and then later on there was one that was like you auto drew the Psy Loop.
The Psy Loop.
And but, like, the ones that are on kind of like a meter were like the ring limit, the strength, the resilience, and all that stuff, and speed. So I think that those are the ones that you'll be kind of, like, upgrading over the course of your journey. And then there were also things in the skill tree that unlocked as the story progressed. Like, it was a separate little, like, line. I think there were 3 or 4 of them that unlocked as you just played the game. And Psy Loop was was Psy Loop the first one of that, or was that on its own? Like, no, that was on the regular skill tree, I believe.
Right.
But yeah, so there are a few that are going to unlock as you play through the game as well, like automatically.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. No, I'm glad it's, and I assume maybe on different islands you'll get even more moves, or maybe it is those. I'm not sure, but
I would imagine so. Yeah, right. Like, that would make sense.
Yeah. So you got. I know you tried to get it out of him, but you had no indication of like any different biomes. Like you couldn't see like if there was like a snow or desert or anything.
I would imagine those different biomes are going to be on the different islands. If I had to guess.
I'm just so curious because like I think of like Generations, right? That has like 9 classic stages, right? Or 8. So like Island 1 having assumably 7 for 7 Chaos Emeralds, right? Like I wonder how many by this point classic stages are we gonna get? And maybe it's exciting because we'll get a lot we haven't seen forever. So I'm really curious to know where they're gonna get, like where they're gonna pull from.
And I don't know if it's like one cyberspace stage for every Chaos Emerald, because like it's all based on how many vault keys you get.
That is true.
From the different objectives and everything. So like, who knows? Maybe there's 10 or 20 on each island. I mean, that might be on the high end, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were like 10 on each level.
That's interesting.
Island.
Yeah, I guess it could be more than 7. Well, did you see more than 7 basically? Even
I didn't, but I didn't open up all of the map though. So it would be weird if like there was a whole corner of the map I didn't go to and there wasn't a portal over there.
That is actually interesting.
I don't think I went to like the northwest part of the map.
Okay. That's cool. That's actually good to know that there might even be more than 7 allocated because you could get. That's cool. I like that. I like it. And how did the Titan boss feel? Because obviously that was like one of the big things where like you're sort of climbing up it or you like loop around it. Was that fun?
Oh, the Ashura boss?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Ashura boss was the most difficult one until the flyer. The flyer was the hardest one. Ashura, so the first 2 times, so there's like 3 spires on his head. Yeah. And run up his arm when he slams it into the ground, dodging the red, hitting the blue circles. And you get up there, you just do a combo on the spire. It destroys it. He kind of like shakes you off, and you have to do it on the next side of his arm. Okay. And go to the other spire, and it gets more difficult each time. Like the red comes down, the red becomes more frequent, the blue becomes less frequent.
Okay.
And it actually took me a few times to get up his arm on the 3rd attempt, because it was like, all right, he has a lot of red on this, and like I just kept like. I kept kind of sliding off because I would be trying to dodge it going up the arm, and then I would just like I would either hit by the red or I would like go flying off the arm because I just wasn't I wasn't doing well.
That's good.
But yeah, like it was fun. It was probably actually my least favorite of the boss battles.
Okay.
Because I really enjoyed Tower. It was really satisfying to like just chip away at each section. Ninja was kind of a traditional like, all right, notice the enemy pattern and then like parry or like stay away and attack when he has an opening. And then Flyer, I think, was probably my favorite of the 4 bosses that I fought.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, no, it's exciting times. I'm very curious to see more of the game, and you guys did. I've been doing great with your coverage, man. So good job on all that.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But other than that, is there things that you're hoping to see? You know. Because I've been tired, like questions I have, like were there things you're still hoping to see or that you want? Or
I'm just excited to see like a more finished product. I'm excited to see like where like other islands. I think that's what everybody wants to see, right? They want to see a new island. They want to see new cyberspace stages. I want to get I mean, I don't want to know too much about the story going in, because like while I said like I'm not like primarily playing a Sonic game for the story, I am intrigued and I want to be surprised when I can be like in good ways, not in bad ways, like we got with Forces.
I get you.
Forces surprise us in a lot of bad ways, unfortunately, with the story in particular. But with I want to see like what could possibly be like going on with this story, and like I think that's something I want to learn. But like seeing new islands, seeing new biomes, new bosses, because I think those are like some of the highlights of the big open zone. Those are things that I'm most curious to see.
Cool, man. Yeah, no. So I'm excited, man. And maybe we'll come back to some of the games like closer to release and we can talk about it, because it'll be a good time.
Maybe we'll both have played it by then.
There we go. So, all right, man. Well, thank you for joining me. Plug yourself. Let them know where they gotta go, what they gotta do.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Brian P. Shea. That's SHEA. And then Gameinformer.com for all of your day-to-day news, features, previews, reviews. We also have a magazine, which, you know, that's why Sonic is at the forefront of our coverage right now, because Sonic Frontiers is on the cover. We had the amazing Evan Stanley do our cover art, who's done a lot of the comic art and everything.
That was intentional that he remade the pose from the first cover, right?
So she actually did we were negotiating with Sega, and we're like, hey, we'd love to do Gameinformer Gold with like a special cover. And we pitched it, like, originally we were going to try to do it last year for the 30th anniversary, because our anniversary lines up almost perfectly with Sonic's anniversary.
Right.
We were in fall 1991 and Sonic was summer 1991. So like we were like, hey, it would be really cool if we could do a 30th anniversary. And then, you know, the pandemic kind of delayed a lot of stuff. Like a lot of games fell out because of that. So we are... like, we're happy we got to do this for, like, I guess the 31st anniversary of both Gameinformer and Sonic. And we wanted to pay homage to that first issue, because Gameinformer issue 1 was Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
Perfect.
And it was just like tips and tricks for Sonic. And it was like, so we obviously went a little bit more in depth with this. And also, as a result, the cover story has a lot of like kind of like classic stuff as well. I got to speak to Tom Kalinske and Al Nielsen and a few other people about like kind of the history of Sonic. And it was great to kind of make sure that like we tipped the cap to the history of Sonic while also looking ahead to Sonic Frontiers. I even did a thing where I talked to Netflix and
that's cool, about Prime
and Paramount, about Sonic Prime, really? And about the Sonic cinematic universe, if you will. That's awesome. That's cool. So there's a little section in there called Multimedia Momentum in the cover story, where I talked to them as well.
That's cool.
So yeah, that was really fun. By the way, I really enjoyed the Sonic 2 movie.
It's awesome. I love that movie.
So kind of before we close out, going back to like my history with Sonic, like when I was a little kid, like, you know, I was obsessed with the comics, like in love with the games, and I liked the Saturday morning cartoon. I remember I had a dream that there was a Sonic live action movie, and I woke up all sad. Like when I was like 10 years old, and I was just like, man, that sucks. That's never gonna happen. And now here we are, and it's like and then like I remember when the first character design came out, and I was just like,
it was so sad.
I wasn't angry. I was just sad, because I was like, man, like, we finally got this thing, and like we can't just have a nice thing. Like
I just want this sort of Sonic.
I just wanted the series to have a win in like the mainstream so badly. And then they went back, they redesigned it, and it was great design. The blue arms are still a little weird for me, but like, you know, overall it's a really good design. And you know, they did a great job with that first movie. It was very clearly geared towards children, and like but it was still a fun movie with some Easter eggs.
Just a buddy cop fun thing. Whereas like movie 2, it's like that's a Sonic movie.
Movie 2, they're like, hey, what if we made like a game that like just hinted at all kinds of cool stuff in the future?
So
like,
good,
got Idris Elba to play Knuckles. It's like, what?
Insane.
Like
they did everything right with like that marketing, that hype. I can't believe we're still getting Shadow. That's so cool.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm so excited for that. And it's interesting because Jeff Fowler, the director, he actually worked on Shadow the Hedgehog back in the day.
I remember that. It's so cool, dude.
So it's cool that they have somebody who actually knows the game series, even if Shadow the Hedgehog wasn't the greatest game, but like, you know, it's somebody who is familiar with the game series. They seem like they have really great communication with Sega and Sonic team about like, hey, what if we did this with this character? And you know, I think that the series looks really bright going forward. And they said an interesting thing to me where I asked like one of the producers, like, what's the idea behind like this Sonic cinematic universe? Like, you know, you're expanding it out to you've already announced Sonic 3, you've already announced this Knuckles like live action series on Paramount Plus, starring Idris Elba. Like, and they're like, yeah, you know, like we wanted, like if we were gonna do this, we wanted to do it right. Like we wanted to have like, we wanted to be able to dig in and give like these large fleshed out stories to characters like Knuckles, to characters like Shadow. And I was like, oh, it's weird that you would mention like Shadow alongside Knuckles in that way. I wonder if we're going to get some sort of like Shadow focused project, which would be awesome. I mean, again, like it's me trying to read between the lines there. Like they haven't said anything about that, but like that kind of gave me, like kind of set off an alarm in my head of like, it's interesting that like you're mentioning him alongside a character that's already confirmed to get a standalone series.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, with Shadow, you have to. I mean, it's Shadow. Like that is your second icon next to Sonic for franchise characters.
You know, honestly, I was personally hoping that the post-credit scene was going to be Metal Sonic.
Metal, yeah, that was because the two people went back and forth.
It would have made so much sense because like Dr. Robotnik's been defeated twice by Sonic,
right?
And now he's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna. I don't know if he still has the quill or anything anymore, but like,
you know, like make Sonic.
I'm gonna make a Sonic robot and like have him fight Sonic.
I think like with movie 3, it seems like Eggman's gonna be on the side a bit. Shadow and that plotline's gonna be in the forefront, and I still think Eggman will be building Metal, because technically right now Eggman has nothing to do with Shadow inherently like he did in the games, you know.
I mean, maybe we'll get Gerald Robotnik.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love that. But yeah, awesome. Man. So yeah, so I can't wait for all that. So guys, thank y'all for watching. Of course, Brian, thank you for coming through. And
thanks for having me.
I'll see you all next time. Peace out.